When did a little white lie spiral into disaster? I never thought a harmless white lie would unravel everything I cared about. But when I told it, I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. I just wanted to keep the peace. Keep the illusion. And for a while, it worked. Until the illusion started rotting from the inside. It was my sister Anna who pulled me into it. She'd just started dating Eric, charming, successful, too perfect to be real. We'd grown up in a family where appearances were everything. My mother ironed the curtains before company came over. My father rehearsed small talk before church. So when Anna begged me, "Please don't tell him about Dad." Not yet. I understood. She wanted Eric to think our family was normal, not fractured. Not haunted by Dad's gambling, the debt collectors, the nights we hid in our rooms while Mom screamed into her pillow. So I lied. I said Dad had passed away years ago. That's what Anna wanted. That's what Eric believed. And that was the night the first stone in the avalanche started rolling. It was supposed to be temporary. A small omission to protect Anna's new relationship, but the lie grew teeth. Suddenly I was improvising details. Dad's favorite meal. His love for old westerns, the way he'd taught me to ride a bike. Eric ate it up, even got misty-eyed when I described a fishing trip that never happened. And Anna just smiled at me across the table. Eyes full of gratitude and something sharper, fear. I told myself I was protecting her. But deep down, I think I liked it too. For once, we weren't the broken family. We were respectable. Normal. The first real crack came at Mom's birthday dinner. Eric had insisted on coming to meet her. We couldn't exactly say no. So Mom played along. Her smile stretched thin like brittle glass. "So," Eric asked cheerfully, "what was your husband like?" The air froze. Mom's hand hovered in midair, gripping her wine glass. Her eyes flicked to mine, then to Anna. It was my moment to step in. I swallowed. "He died when we were young," I said quickly. Mom doesn't really like to talk about it. Mom's jaw tightened. She didn't call me out. She just raised the glass to her lips and drank. But later, after Eric left, she cornered me in the kitchen. "What the hell are you doing?" she hissed. "Anna asked me to," I whispered back. "Do you have any idea how dangerous this is?" Dangerous. That word stuck with me. It wasn't just a lie anymore. It was something alive, dangerous, ready to strike. Still, the lie carried us for months. Eric proposed to Anna in December. He gave this big speech about family, about how he wanted to honor the memory of our father when they had kids. My stomach knotted, but I clapped like everyone else. It wasn't until the wedding planning started that things spiraled. Eric wanted to invite Dad's old friends. He asked me for names, for stories, for connections. I panicked. I gave him a list of names I thought sounded believable, men from Dad's poker nights. Guys whose faces blurred in smoke-filled memories. I never thought he'd track them down. But Eric was relentless. He found one, a man named Curtis. He worked at a garage 2 towns over. Eric called me, thrilled. "He remembers your dad." He said he'd love to come to the wedding. My blood turned to ice. Curtis remembered Dad, all right. But not as the noble father we'd invented. He remembered the shouting, the debts, the IOUs scrawled on napkins. That night, I begged Anna to tell Eric the truth before it got worse. She just stared at me, pale and trembling. "No," she whispered. "If he finds out now, it's over. And I can't lose him." "You don't understand." She was right. I didn't understand. Why was this man worth more than the truth? But I didn't push. I was too scared of being the reason her life crumbled. The wedding day came faster than I expected. Guests filled the hall, laughter echoing against chandeliers. I forced myself to smile, to pretend everything was perfect. Until I saw Curtis. He stood at the back, watching with a strange look. Recognition. Disgust. His presence was a loaded gun, waiting for someone to pull the trigger. After the vows, after the champagne, he found me outside. His voice was low, sharp. "You telling people your daddy's dead?" I froze. "'Cause last I checked," Curtis said, "he still owes me $5,000. And unless he crawled into the ground in the last 6 months, I know he ain't dead." My mouth went dry. My heart thudded so loud I was sure he could hear it. "I don't know what you're talking about," I whispered. Curtis leaned closer. His breath reeked of whiskey. "You keep lying like that, sweetheart. It's gonna bite you, hard." I thought that was the worst of it. But then he nodded toward the window. Toward Eric, who was laughing with Anna inside. "Nice guy," Curtis said. "Be a real shame if he found out the truth tonight." The ground shifted under me. The white lie wasn't white anymore. It was dark, dangerous, and Curtis had the power to drop it right in Anna's lap. And that's when I realized this lie wasn't just mine anymore. It belonged to Curtis too. And he was going to use it. I couldn't breathe. Curtis's words hung in the night air like smoke, thick and choking. He wasn't bluffing. I could see it in his eyes. He'd been waiting for leverage, for a chance to make our family's rot work for him. And I had handed it to him wrapped in a bow. Please, I whispered. Don't. Not tonight. Curtis's grin was sharp, yellowed teeth catching the light. Then maybe you and I should talk business. He slipped a crumpled card into my hand, an address scrawled in messy ink. Tomorrow, you show up. Or I show your shiny new brother-in-law the truth. And then he was gone, swallowed by the crowd of smokers at the edge of the parking lot. Inside, Anna twirled in her white dress, radiant, glowing. Eric kissed her cheek, his arms strong around her waist. I stood there frozen, feeling like a traitor at my own sister's wedding. That night, I barely slept. I kept hearing Curtis's voice, kept seeing Anna's smile, the way it would shatter if the truth came out. The next day, I went to the address. A dingy apartment above a laundromat, the kind of place that smelled like mold and bad decisions. Curtis opened the door shirtless, a cigarette dangling from his lips. Told you you'd come, he said, smirking. I stepped inside, my stomach knotted. What do you want? He dropped onto a stained recliner and lit another cigarette. Money, same as always. Your daddy's debts didn't vanish just 'cause you said he was dead. I swallowed. We don't have that kind of money. Then you'd better figure it out, he said, blowing smoke rings. 'Cause I got no problem telling Eric who he married into. And when that happens, your sister's little fairy tale crumbles. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him to go to hell. But all I could think about was Anna's face, the way she'd looked at Eric when he slid that ring on her finger. I couldn't destroy that. Not after everything, so I made the first of many deals with the devil. How much? I asked. Curtis grinned like a cat catching a mouse. 5 grand, cash. By next month. I nodded, even though my checking account barely scraped 3 digits. Walking home, the weight of it crushed me. I couldn't tell Anna she'd panic. I couldn't tell Mom she'd blame me for keeping the lie alive. And I couldn't tell Eric he'd walk away, so I carried it alone. The weeks that followed were a blur. I picked up double shifts, sold jewelry I'd inherited from Grandma, even pawned my laptop. Every dollar felt like blood dripping out of me, but I scraped together enough. I thought that would be the end of it, but Curtis wasn't satisfied. Men like him never are. When I handed him the cash, his fingers lingered on the bills like they belonged to him. His eyes flicked to me. You know, he said slowly, your sister's husband makes good money. Real good. Maybe you could get a little more next month. No, I snapped. That was the deal. You stay quiet. Curtis chuckled. Sweetheart, you don't make the rules. I do. I left shaking, bile burning my throat. I'd given him an opening, and now he was going to bleed us dry. At first, I tried to ignore him. I didn't show up when he called. Didn't answer his messages. But Curtis wasn't the kind of man you could ghost. The first warning came when Anna found a dead bird on her porch, neatly placed, wings folded. No note, just a reminder. The second warning was a voicemail. His voice low and calm. Tell your sister the past has teeth. And it's hungry. I couldn't hide it anymore. One night, after Eric left for a late shift, Anna cornered me in her kitchen. You're pale, she said. Jumpy, what's going on? My chest tightened. I wanted to protect her. But the lie had already sunk its claws in, and now it was dragging us both under. So I told her. Not everything but enough. Curtis knows, I whispered. He knows Dad's alive. He's threatening to tell Eric unless I pay him off. Anna's face drained of color. She gripped the counter to steady herself. Oh my God, she breathed. This can't be happening. It is, I said. I've been trying to handle it. You should have told me sooner. Her voice cracked, raw with fear. Do you realize what this means? If Eric finds out, he'll leave me. He'll think I lied too. You did lie too, I snapped before I could stop myself. Her eyes filled with tears. I lied for you. For us, for this family. The room went silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. We stood there, sisters caught in a web of our own making, the walls closing in. Finally, Anna whispered, we have to make Curtis stop. I nodded. But in my gut, I knew Curtis wasn't the kind of man who stopped. The next week, things escalated. Eric started asking questions. Why had a strange man called the house asking for Anna? Why had the car been keyed in the grocery store parking lot? Why was I always at Anna's place late at night, whispering with her like we were plotting something? The walls were closing in fast. Curtis wanted more. Anna wanted silence. And Eric wanted the truth, that the truth was a bomb. And once it went off, none of us would survive intact. That night, Curtis sent a final message. A photo of Eric leaving work, followed by a text. Next time I talk, it'll be to him. The lie had become a loaded gun. And Curtis was holding it to Eric's head. The photo of Eric on Curtis's cracked phone screen burned itself into my mind. His crisp shirt, his tired but unbothered expression as he walked to his car completely unaware he was now a pawn in Curtis's game. Anna's hands shook when I showed her. "He's stalking Eric," she whispered. "Yeah," I muttered. "And he won't stop unless we give him what he wants." Her eyes snapped to mine. "Then we give it to him." "No," I said sharply. "You don't understand. This isn't about money anymore. Curtis doesn't just want cash. He wants control." Anna paced the kitchen, her bare feet silent against the tile. "So what do we do? Tell Eric? Admit we lied about Dad? That we built our whole relationship on a lie?" The words cut deep, because she was right. That's exactly what we had done. "We can't tell him," I said. "Not now." "Then what?" she demanded. "Do we let Curtis dangle this over us forever? Do we live like this, terrified of what he'll do next?" I didn't have an answer. That night, sleep was impossible. Every sound outside the window made me jump. Every car that passed felt like Curtis coming back to collect. My phone buzzed just after 2 a.m. A text from an unknown number. "Tick-tock, sweetheart. Your time's running out." I didn't reply. I just sat there, clutching the phone like it might explode. The next morning, Eric cornered me in the driveway. "Why is Anna so tense lately?" he asked, narrowing his eyes. "Why are you always around? What aren't you telling me?" His suspicion cut me to the bone. He was a good man, better than Anna had ever had before. And here I was, helping her build a house of cards around him. "Nothing," I lied smoothly. "She's just stressed with wedding stuff. New life, new responsibilities, you know." He looked at me for a long time, like he didn't believe me. Then he nodded slowly and walked away. The guilt made me nauseous. Later that week, Curtis called again. His voice was smug, lazy, like he had all the time in the world. "I've been thinking," he drawled. "Maybe I don't just want money. Maybe I want a seat at the table. A piece of your happy little life." I gripped the phone tighter. "What does that mean?" "It means," he said, "I show up sometimes, to dinners, to parties. I get to enjoy the good life your sister's got now. You say I'm an old family friend. I smile, I eat, I drink. And I stay quiet." My stomach turned. "You're insane." "No," he said. "I'm practical. And I know leverage when I've got it." I hung up before I said something that would make it worse. But the threat lingered. I could see it: Curtis showing up at Thanksgiving, at birthdays, slipping himself into our lives like a poison we couldn't get rid of. When I told Anna, she went white. "He can't," she whispered. "Eric would know something's wrong." "Exactly," I said. "That's what he wants. To make us squirm. To know we're trapped." Anna sank into a chair, her hands clutching her hair. "This is my fault. I wanted to tell her it wasn't. That I'd chosen to go along with the lie. That I'd fed it, watered it, let it grow. But the truth sat heavy between us. The next day, I tried to reason with Curtis one last time. I met him at a dingy bar on the edge of town. The kind of place where the floor stuck to your shoes. "Please," I said. "Just take the money and leave us alone." Curtis leaned back, smirking. "Funny thing is, you sound just like your old man. Always begging, always making promises. You know what happened to him when he couldn't pay?" I didn't answer. I didn't want to know. Curtis leaned forward, his eyes gleaming. He disappeared. "And maybe you should remember that when you tell me no." A cold shiver ran through me. When I got home, Anna was waiting. She looked desperate, frantic. "We have to do something," she said. "Like what?" I snapped. "Call the cops? Tell them we lied about our dead father, and now a loan shark is blackmailing us. Do you think they'll take our side?" Her silence was answer enough. That night, Eric walked in on us whispering again. He stopped in the doorway, his expression hard. "What the hell is going on?" he asked. Neither of us spoke. "I'm not stupid," he continued. "I know you're hiding something. If you don't tell me, I swear I'll find out myself." The room was suffocating. The truth clawed at my throat. But before I could say anything, Anna broke down. "It's nothing," she sobbed. "Just family stuff." Eric's jaw clenched. He didn't push further, but I could see the doubt festering in his eyes. And that was when I realized something terrifying. If Curtis didn't destroy us, the lie itself would. The next morning, I found another note tucked under my windshield wiper. No words this time, just a photo of Anna, taken through her kitchen window while she washed dishes. Curtis wasn't just threatening anymore. He was inside our lives, watching us, waiting, and for the first time, I wondered if money would ever be enough to stop him. The photo of Anna at her kitchen sink shook me more than Curtis's words ever had. Her posture was casual, relaxed, completely unaware of the camera pressed to the glass. He'd been that close. Close enough to breathe on the window. When I showed her, she nearly dropped it. Her face drained of all color. "He was here," she whispered. "While I was inside, he was here." I nodded, my throat tight. "This isn't about debts anymore. He's playing with us." Her hands trembled so badly she couldn't even hold the picture. "We can't let Eric find out. He'll think I've been lying from the start. He'll leave me." "Anna, no," she snapped. A raw edge in her voice I'd never heard before. "I can't lose him. You don't understand. If he walks away, I have nothing. Nothing." I wanted to argue. I wanted to tell her Eric wasn't the kind of man who would leave because of a secret, no matter how ugly. But the truth was, I wasn't so sure anymore. I'd seen the suspicion in his eyes, the distance that had already started to grow. That night, Curtis called again. His voice was smoother this time, almost cheerful. "You like the picture?" he asked. My stomach twisted. "Stay away from her. I'm just reminding you what's at stake. This is fun, isn't it? A little game. I make a move, you make a move. Let's see how long you can keep up." "You're sick," I spat. "Maybe," he said. "But I'm still the one holding the cards." I hung up, my hands shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone. For days, we lived in a fog of paranoia. Anna double-checked the locks 3 times before bed. I jumped at shadows in the driveway. Eric watched us both with a mixture of confusion and anger, like he was sure something was being hidden from him, but couldn't quite put it together. Then one evening, everything cracked wide open. Eric came home earlier than usual. Anna was upstairs showering. I was in the kitchen trying to steady my hands enough to chop vegetables. And then the doorbell rang. I froze. Eric opened it before I could stop him. And there he was. Curtis. Standing in our doorway like he belonged there. "Evening," Curtis drawled. "Name's Curtis. Old friend of the family." Eric's eyes narrowed. "I don't think we've met." "We go way back," Curtis said smoothly, stepping inside before Eric could invite him. "Knew Anna's daddy real well." "Hell of a man." The words hit me like a hammer. Eric turned toward me, suspicion flaring instantly. "Anna's dad?" he repeated. "I thought he—" "Eric, don't," I stammered. "He's lying." But Curtis wasn't done. He smiled, slow and vicious. "Didn't she tell you? Man's alive. Always has been." Guess she forgot to mention that. The silence after that was suffocating. Eric's face went pale, then dark with betrayal. "What?" he asked, his voice low, dangerous. Anna came down the stairs in her robe, her hair wet, her eyes wide when she saw Curtis standing in the living room. Eric turned to her, his expression sharp. "Is it true?" Anna froze. Her mouth opened, then closed again. She looked at me, begging for rescue. But I had nothing left. Eric's voice rose. "Is it true, Anna?" She crumbled. Tears welled in her eyes. "Yes," she whispered. The air left the room like someone had punched it out. Eric staggered back, shaking his head. "All this time. All the stories. All the dinners. You lied. Both of you." Anna reached for him, sobbing. "I just wanted us to be normal. I was scared if you knew the truth, you wouldn't love me." Eric pulled away like her touch burned him. His voice cracked. "Do you even know what you've done? What kind of marriage starts on a lie like this?" Curtis leaned against the wall, smirking like the devil himself. He didn't have to say another word. He'd lit the match, and now he was watching the fire spread. Eric grabbed his keys, his face twisted with anger and hurt. "I need air," he muttered. Anna tried to stop him, but he pushed past, slamming the door so hard the frame rattled. The silence that followed was deafening. Anna collapsed onto the couch, sobbing into her hands. Curtis chuckled. "Well, that went well." I turned on him, rage boiling in my chest. "Get out." He raised his hands mockingly. All right. No need to be rude, but you see now, don't you? You need me quiet. And that costs." And with that, he sauntered out, leaving the door swinging open behind him. Anna looked up at me, her face streaked with tears, her voice broken. "He's gone," she whispered. "Eric's gone." But I knew Curtis wasn't finished. Not even close, because now the lie wasn't just ours anymore. It had become Eric's burden too. And Curtis would use that, until there was nothing left of any of us. Anna didn't move from the couch the entire night. She sat there, robe clutched tight around her like armor, her face streaked raw with tears. Every so often, she whispered Eric's name like if she said it enough, he'd come back through the door. But he didn't. I tried to stay calm, but my own chest was a battlefield, guilt, rage, terror all colliding until I couldn't tell one from the other. I kept hearing the slam of the door, the betrayal in Eric's eyes. That look would haunt me forever. When the sun rose, Anna was still there, hollow and silent. Her phone buzzed again and again, calls from Eric she couldn't bring herself to answer. Then finally, a message. I need space. Don't contact me. She let the phone slip from her fingers. The sound it made against the hardwood floor was small, fragile. And that's when I knew Curtis had already won. For the next 2 days, Anna drifted through her house like a ghost. She didn't eat. She didn't sleep. And when she did speak, her voice was hoarse, broken. I can't lose him, she kept saying. I can't. I wanted to fix it. To rewind time. To erase the lie before it ever left my mouth, but that was impossible. The lie was alive now, hungry, and Curtis was feeding it. On the 3rd night, he came back. Not to the house, thank God, but through a text that made my blood run cold. Want your happy marriage back? Meet me tonight. There was an address. A rundown motel on the edge of town. I didn't tell Anna. She was too fragile. Instead, I drove out alone, my hands clamped so hard to the steering wheel they left bruises in my palms. Curtis was waiting in the parking lot, leaning against a rusted pickup, cigarette glowing in the dark. You're late, he said casually. I ignored it. What do you want? He grinned. That's the question, isn't it? What do I want? He flicked ash onto the ground. Money's nice, but money runs out. What I really want is security. My chest tightened. What does that mean? It means, Curtis said, stepping closer, I want in. A place in your world, a reason to keep my mouth shut. See, people like me, we don't do well alone. We need family. My stomach turned. You're insane. You think we'd ever let you? He cut me off with a laugh. You don't have a choice, sweetheart. You and Anna built your little castle on lies. I'm just the wolf at the door. I wanted to hit him, scream at him. But I couldn't, because he was right. I left without answering, but his laughter followed me all the way home. When I walked through the door, Anna was waiting. Her eyes were swollen, her face pale. Where were you? I hesitated. Nowhere. Just needed air. She studied me, suspicious, but she didn't press. She was too broken to fight. Later that night, when she finally slept, I sat awake in the dark. Curtis's words echoed in my head. He wanted in. Not just money, not just power, he wanted us. And the terrifying part, he might get it, because when Eric came back the next day, he wasn't the same man. His face was drawn, his eyes colder. We need to talk, he said flatly. Anna rushed to him, desperate, but he held up a hand to stop her. You lied to me, he said. Both of you. About your father. About everything. I was scared, Anna whispered. I thought if you knew, you thought I'd leave, he finished. His voice was like a blade, and now I don't know what to think. How do I trust anything you say? Anna crumpled, sobbing. I tried to step in, but Eric's eyes snapped to me. And you, he said, his voice sharp. You helped her. You kept this lie alive. I swallowed hard. I was trying to protect her. Protect her? He laughed bitterly. You destroyed us. The silence that followed was unbearable. Finally, Eric turned toward the door. I need time, he said. But I'm not sure time will fix this. And then he was gone again. Anna collapsed, screaming into her hands. And I knew then Curtis wasn't done. He'd just taken the first piece off the board. That night, another text came. This one worse than all the rest. Nice husband you got there. Shame if you found out the whole truth about Daddy. Attached was a grainy photo. My father, alive, sitting outside a grimy casino, cigarette in hand, looking like hell but unmistakably alive. My stomach dropped. Curtis wasn't bluffing anymore. He had Dad. And now, the secret wasn't just a lie. It was a weapon. I stared at the photo until my eyes blurred. Dad. Alive. Disheveled. Gaunt. But alive. The ghost we'd buried in stories was sitting on a casino bench like he'd never left. I showed Anna. Her knees buckled and she sank to the floor. No, she whispered. No, this can't, he's not. But he was. Curtis had proved it. Anna buried her face in her hands. If Eric sees this, it's over. I can't. Her voice broke. I knelt beside her. gripping her shoulders. Listen to me. We can fix this. But we need to get ahead of Curtis. If he shows Eric before we do, we're finished. Her eyes lifted, swollen and bloodshot. You want me to tell him the truth, after everything? Yes, I said. Because Curtis already owns the lie. If we don't take it back, he'll control us forever. But Anna shook her head violently. No, I can't. He'll leave me. He'll hate me. I opened my mouth to argue, but my phone buzzed again. Another message. Want to keep this between us? Meet tomorrow, midnight. Bring Anna. Anna saw it too. She clutched my arm. We can't go. We don't have a choice, I whispered. The next night, we drove out to the address Curtis sent. An abandoned warehouse on the edge of town, the kind of place that reeked of rust and mildew. My heart pounded so loud I could barely hear. Inside, Curtis was waiting. And he wasn't alone. Dad was there. My breath caught in my throat. His hair was thinner, his face older, but his eyes, those wild, reckless eyes, were the same. Girls, he said, his voice rough. My girls, Anna gasped. She stumbled back like she'd seen a corpse. Curtis grinned. Beautiful reunion, huh? I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. After all these years, after all the lies, here he was. The man we buried in words and excuses. Dad stepped closer. I never wanted to leave you. I had problems, but I thought, maybe now we could. Stop, I choked. You don't get to say that. You don't get to walk back into our lives like nothing happened. His face crumpled. But before he could answer, Curtis cut in. See, this is the fun part. Eric doesn't know yet. But he could. All it takes is one message, one picture. He held up his phone, Dad's image glowing on the screen. Anna's voice cracked. What do you want? Curtis's grin widened. I already told you, I want in. I want to sit at your table. I want to drink your wine, eat your food, smile at your husband while you both choke on the secret. And if you don't like that, well, he waved the phone. Eric gets the truth, raw and ugly. Anna's body shook. Please, don't ruin this for me. Curtis tilted his head, pretending to think. Maybe I won't, if you make it worth my while. I couldn't take it anymore. I lunged at him, grabbing for the phone. He shoved me back hard. I stumbled, crashing into a stack of crates. Bad move, Curtis snarled. Real bad move. Dad stepped forward, his voice shaking. Leave them out of this, Curtis. This is between you and me, Curtis laughed. You think anyone cares about you anymore? You're just a washed-up drunk with nothing left. They're the ones with something to lose. He was right. And that made him dangerous. Anna grabbed my arm, dragging me toward the door. We have to go, now. But Curtis's voice followed us into the night. Remember, sweetheart, every breath you take, every lie you tell, I'm right there, watching. We didn't stop running until we were back in the car, gasping for air. Anna's face was pale, her hands shaking on the steering wheel. He's never going to stop. He'll destroy everything. I pressed my forehead against the window, the weight of it crushing me. Unless we stop him first. Anna turned to me, horrified. What do you mean? My voice was low, steady. I mean, Curtis won't stop until someone makes him. And if no one else will, then it has to be us. Her eyes widened, fear shining in the darkness. You're talking about killing him. The word hung between us, heavy and dangerous. And for the first time, I didn't flinch. The word killing echoed in the silence of the car like a gunshot neither of us fired. Anna stared at me as though I'd turned into someone she didn't recognize. You can't be serious, she whispered. I am, I said, my voice steady even as my stomach churned. Curtis won't stop. He'll bleed us dry, ruin your marriage, ruin our lives. He's already in our house without stepping through the door. The only way to stop him is to take him out of the picture for good. Anna shook her head, tears forming in her eyes. That's not who we are. I turned toward her, my voice breaking for the first time. Then who are we, Anna? Because right now we're liars, cowards, and hostages to a man who smiles while he destroys us. Do you really think Eric will forgive you once Curtis tells him everything? Do you think he'll stay? Her face crumpled. I don't know, but I knew. Eric was already halfway gone. And Curtis was the wedge driving him further. For the next few days, the thought clawed at me relentlessly. I tried to imagine other ways out. Police? Impossible. Curtis would expose us before the ink dried on the report. Eric? He already looked at Anna like she was a stranger. Confront Curtis? We tried that. He laughed in our faces. Every path led to the same end. Curtis still holding the knife over our throats. Unless the plan came to me in fragments. A late-night drive past the quarry on the edge of town. The memory of Dad's words. Leave them out of this, Curtis. This is between you and me. The realization that Dad, for all his failures, might be the only weapon we had left. When I told Anna, she recoiled. You want to use him? After everything he's done to us? I met her eyes. He's the reason Curtis has leverage in the first place. Maybe it's time he finally pays his debt. Anna's silence stretched long. Finally, she whispered, and if Dad refuses, then he's as useless to us now as he was when we were kids. The cruelty of my own words shocked me. But I didn't take them back. 2 nights later, we lured Dad out. Anna told him we needed to talk privately, that maybe we could help him clean up his mess. He showed up reeking of whiskey, his eyes bloodshot but hopeful. My girls, he slurred. Fine, you gonna forgive your old man? I didn't answer. I slid the plan in front of him like a contract. Help us get rid of Curtis, I said. And maybe we can find a way forward. His face drained of color. You're asking me too? Yes, I cut him off. Because if you don't, he'll ruin us all. He'll ruin Anna's marriage. He'll ruin me. He'll ruin you too, if there's anything left to ruin. Dad sat back, his hands trembling. For a moment, I thought he'd walk out. But then something flickered in his eyes. A shadow of the man he used to be, the gambler, the hustler, the survivor. What's the plan? He asked, and that's when I realized. He'd been waiting his whole life for a chance to rewrite his story. We decided on the quarry. Remote, isolated, deep enough that nobody would ever find what we left behind. The night of, my body felt detached, like I was watching someone else move through the motions. Dad drove Curtis out there under the pretense of settling old debts. Anna and I followed in a separate car, headlights off, my hands clamped so tightly on the steering wheel, my knuckles went white. When we arrived, Curtis was already laughing, his voice echoing across the empty pit. You really think you can pay me off out here, old man? He sneered. You don't have enough chips in the world. Dad's voice shook but held firm. I've got something better. One last deal. Anna clutched my arm so tightly, her nails dug into my skin. My heart hammered against my ribs. This was it. The moment where the lie that had started with a whisper would either end or consume us completely. Curtis spotted us in the shadows. His grin widened. Ah, the girls. Knew you couldn't resist. So what's the plan, huh? Gonna beg me again? I stepped forward. My voice steady though every muscle screamed with fear. No, we're done begging. He laughed, clapping his hands. Oh, I like this. Finally growing a backbone. Too bad it's too late. Because tomorrow Eric's getting the full story. Pictures, proof, all of it. Your whole little fairy tale gone. Anna whimpered. Dad looked at me, his eyes asking the question I couldn't say out loud. Now? And before I could answer, Curtis pulled something from his jacket. Not a phone. A knife. The blade caught the moonlight as he twirled it casually. See, I don't trust liars, he said, stepping closer. So maybe I cut the truth out of you myself. Anna gasped. Dad froze. And I realized with horrifying clarity, this wasn't just about threats anymore. Curtis was ready to spill blood. The quarry air was cold and sharp in my lungs. My heart thundered. And for the first time, I thought, maybe only one of us was walking away tonight. The knife glinted in Curtis's hand, cruel and deliberate. He twirled it once, the metal catching the moonlight like a warning. Anna whimpered behind me. Dad froze, his fists clenched but trembling. And my body felt like ice and fire all at once. Every instinct screaming to run, but my legs rooted in the gravel. Curtis grinned. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Or maybe you're finally realizing you can't lie your way out of this one. He stepped closer. I could smell the mix of cigarette smoke and stale whiskey radiating off him. His eyes were wild now, a manic glint that told me this wasn't just about control anymore. He wanted to see us squirm. He wanted fear. Dad raised a hand, his voice wavering. Curtis, you don't want to do this. Oh, I do, Curtis said softly, almost playfully. Because watching you squirm, watching your girls squirm, that's better than money. The knife flashed as he jabbed it toward Dad's chest. Dad flinched, stumbling back. Anna screamed. My instincts roared, and I moved. I don't even remember deciding. 1 second I was frozen. The next I had a heavy rock in my hands, rough and jagged, torn from the gravel. My arms swung before my mind caught up. The crack of stone against skull echoed through the quarry. Curtis staggered. His eyes went wide with shock, the knife slipping from his fingers and clattering to the ground. For a moment, he just stood there, swaying, a crimson line spreading across his temple. Then he collapsed, The silence that followed was deafening. Only Anna's ragged breathing and the distant chirp of crickets filled the air. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Oh my God." I dropped the rock. My hands shook violently, coated in sweat and dust. My chest heaved as the reality of what I'd done sank in. Dad stared at me, his mouth slightly open, eyes hollow. "Jesus, kid," but there was no time to process. Curtis groaned, rolling onto his side. Blood streaked his face, but his eyes flicked open, dark and furious. He wasn't dead, Anna shrieked. Dad moved for the knife, but Curtis lunged faster than I thought possible, grabbing his ankle and yanking him down. The two men hit the gravel hard, grunting, cursing, scrambling in the dirt. I froze again. My body screamed to move, but fear locked me in place. Curtis's hand closed around the knife. He raised it, eyes blazing, ready to plunge it into Dad's chest. And that's when Anna moved. She grabbed the same rock I'd dropped, her scream tearing through the night as she swung it down on Curtis's arm. The knife clattered loose. Dad scrambled away, gasping for breath. Curtis roared in pain, his eyes locking on Anna now. His rage was feral, unhinged. He lunged for her, his bloody hands reaching. Something inside me snapped. I dove, tackling him with every ounce of strength left in me. We hit the gravel, rolling, dust choking my lungs. His hands clawed at my face, his weight crushing me. I could feel his spit hot against my cheek as he growled, "You think you can get rid of me? I'll haunt you till the day you die." My hand found the knife. I didn't think. I didn't breathe. I just drove it forward. The blade sank deep. Curtis's breath hitched, his eyes going wide. For a moment, time stopped. Then his body went limp, collapsing on top of me. Anna's scream tore the night apart. Dad dragged Curtis off me, his face pale and horrified. I sat up, gasping, staring at my bloodied hands. The knife clattered from my grip, sticky with red. Curtis wasn't moving this time. His chest didn't rise. His eyes stared blankly at the stars above. Dead. I'd killed him. Anna collapsed to her knees beside me, sobbing hysterically. "What did you do? What did you do?" I couldn't answer. The night spun around me, my heart pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. Dad knelt across from us, his face grim. For once, there was no bravado, no gambling swagger. Just a broken man staring at the mess his life and ours had become. "We have to get rid of him," he said finally, his voice flat. "Now, before anyone finds out." Anna shook her head violently. "No, we can't. We don't have a choice," Dad snapped. "You want Eric to know. You want the cops here? You think they'll believe this was self-defense after all your lies?" The words sliced through the night. He was right. We had no good choices. Together, we dragged Curtis's body toward the edge of the quarry. My arms burned, my stomach heaved, but I kept moving, one step at a time, gravel scraping under his dead weight. When we reached the ledge, Dad paused. He looked at me, then at Anna. His eyes were hollow, resigned. "Once we do this," he said, "there's no going back." Anna sobbed. I stared down into the abyss, the black water at the bottom swallowing the moonlight. "No going back," I whispered, and then together we pushed. Curtis's body tumbled into the darkness, swallowed by the quarry's depths with a splash that echoed like a closing door. Silence followed, heavy, absolute. Anna collapsed against me, trembling uncontrollably. Dad lit a cigarette with shaking hands, his face grey in the moonlight. And me? I just stood there, staring into the void where Curtis had disappeared, my chest hollow, my hands still stained with blood. The lie had started as a whisper. Now it was buried in the earth, heavy and permanent. But as the ripples faded from the quarry water, I knew one thing for certain. Secrets don't stay buried forever. We drove home in silence. The smell of blood clung to my hands no matter how hard I scrubbed at the sink that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Curtis's face, his eyes widening when the knife went in. Anna stayed in her room, curled up with the lights off, the door locked. I heard her muffled sobs through the thin walls. Dad passed out on the couch with a bottle in his lap, his guilt drowned the only way he knew how. And me? I sat at the kitchen table until dawn, staring at my reflection in the dark window. The person staring back didn't look like me anymore. By morning, reality set in. Curtis was gone, but the danger wasn't. Dead men left questions. They left ripples. And Curtis was the kind of man whose disappearance wouldn't go unnoticed. Sure enough, 2 days later, the first knock came. Detective Harris. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, polite smile. We're asking around about a man named Curtis Walker. Haven't been able to locate him the past week. You happen to know him?" Anna froze. I stepped forward, forcing a casual smile. "He came by once. Old friend of Dad's. Haven't seen him since." The detective studied me, then Anna, then the half-empty whiskey bottle on the counter. "If you do hear from him, let us know. He's got a record. People like him don't just vanish." When the door closed, Anna gripped my arm so tightly it hurt. "They'll find out," she whispered. "Not if we stick to the story," I said. My voice sounded calm, but inside I was unraveling. That night, Eric showed up. He looked exhausted, hollow-eyed, but determined. "We need to talk," he said, his voice low. Anna's knees nearly buckled. She followed him into the living room, her hands shaking. I hovered in the kitchen, close enough to hear. "You lied to me," Eric began. "About your father. About everything, but then some cop came by my office today, asking about Curtis. Said he's missing. And you know what? The first thing I thought was that somehow, you two are involved." Anna's voice broke. "Eric, I swear we had nothing to do with that." But her eyes darted toward me, and Eric caught it. His expression hardened. "You're hiding something," he said flatly. "No," Anna sobbed. "It's just complicated." Eric shook his head slowly. "Complicated is not the same as trustworthy. And right now, I don't know if I can trust a single word out of your mouth." The silence that followed was crushing. Finally, Eric stood, his jaw tight. "I'll give you space," he said. "But I need the truth, Anna. All of it. Or we're done." When the door shut behind him, Anna collapsed, sobbing so hard, I thought she might break in half. I pulled her into my arms, but even as I whispered, "It'll be okay," I knew it wouldn't, because Curtis's ghost wasn't gone. He was everywhere. The next morning, Dad stumbled into the kitchen, his face pale, his eyes bloodshot. "We need to leave," he muttered. "Get out of town before this blows up." Anna shook her head fiercely. "No. If I run, Eric will know. He'll know something happened. Better that than jail," Dad snapped. "We're not running," I said firmly. "We just have to hold steady, stick to the story. Curtis was here, then gone. That's it." But even as I said it, I wasn't sure. 3 days later, Detective Harris came back. This time he wasn't smiling. "We found Curtis's truck by the quarry," he said. His eyes locked on mine. "You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?" My mouth went dry. Anna's hand gripped mine under the table, her nails digging into my skin. "No," I said smoothly. "Why would we?" The detective's eyes lingered, searching my face for cracks. Then he nodded slowly. "If you think of anything, call me." When he left, Anna broke down again. "They know." "Oh God, they know." "No," I said, even as my voice shook. "They suspect." "That's different." But inside, my chest was hollow. That night, Eric called Anna. His voice was clipped, tired. "I'm coming over tomorrow. I want everything. No more lies. If you don't tell me the truth, we're finished." Anna dropped the phone like it burned her. "What do we do?" she whispered, and I realized we had no good options left. If she told Eric the truth, everything crumbled. If she lied again, he'd walk away anyway. Curtis was dead, but somehow he was still destroying us. The lie had spiraled into a monster, and tomorrow it was going to swallow us whole. The next day dawned gray and heavy, like the sky itself knew the weight of what was coming. Anna hadn't slept. Neither had I. Dad was gone before sunrise, muttering something about getting cigarettes. But I knew he wasn't coming back. He couldn't stomach what was about to happen. At noon, Eric arrived. His knock was sharp, impatient. Anna looked at me with wild eyes, like a trapped animal, before she opened the door. He stepped inside, his face hard. There was no softness left in him. No love. Just suspicion. "Talk," he said simply. Anna's lips trembled. "Eric, please." "No." He cut her off. "No more excuses. No more half-truths. You tell me everything right now, or we're done." I stood in the corner, my chest tight. Anna looked at me, desperate. And I knew in that moment I had to take it. If she said it, he'd never forgive her. But maybe, just maybe, if it came from me, there was a chance. So I stepped forward. "It was me," I said. My voice shook, but I forced it steady. "The lie about Dad, the stories," I told them. "Anna just went along with it because she didn't want to lose you." Eric's eyes burned into me. "Why? Why lie about something like that?" I swallowed. "Because the truth was ugly. Dad's not dead. He's a drunk, a gambler, a man who abandoned us. I didn't want you to see us like that. I didn't want you to judge Anna for something she couldn't control. Anna's tears streamed silently down her face. She didn't correct me. She let me take it. Eric's jaw tightened. So all those stories about fishing trips, about him teaching you things. Lies, I admitted. Every one. He looked at Anna, his face softer for a moment. And you just let it happen. Her sobs racked her body. I was scared, Eric. I love you. I didn't want you to see the truth and walk away. For a long time, he said nothing. He just stood there, staring at both of us, his hands clenched at his sides. Finally, he turned to me again. And Curtis? What was he doing here? My blood froze. The name itself was poison. I forced myself to keep breathing. He was blackmailing us, I said carefully. He knew the truth about Dad. He wanted money. And when we couldn't give it, he threatened to ruin everything. Eric's eyes narrowed. And now he's missing. The silence stretched. My pulse hammered. Anna broke it, her voice small. We don't know what happened to him. He came around, made threats, then disappeared. Maybe he left town. Maybe someone else finally got tired of him. Eric studied her, then me. His gaze lingered, searching for cracks. Finally, he sighed, long and heavy. I don't know what to believe anymore. He turned toward the door. Eric, please, Anna cried, stumbling after him. Don't leave me. He stopped, his back still to us, his shoulders tensed. Then he spoke, his voice low. I need time. But understand this, I married you because I thought I knew you. If I can't believe the words that come out of your mouth, then what do we have? The door closed behind him. The sound was quieter than the first time he'd left. But somehow it hurt more. Anna collapsed in a heap on the floor, sobbing like her body was tearing itself apart. I stood frozen, staring at the door, my chest hollow. Curtis was dead. Dad was gone. Eric was slipping away. And all of it because of one stupid lie. For weeks we lived in limbo. The police circled, asking more questions about Curtis, but they never found the body. Detective Harris came by twice more, his eyes sharp, but we stuck to the story. Eventually, the visits stopped. For now, Eric didn't come back. He sent a message once. I need space. Don't call me. Anna clutched the phone like it was the last piece of him she'd ever have. Dad vanished completely. No calls, no notes. Just gone, the way he always had been. And me? I walked around with Curtis's face in my head. His last words. I'll haunt you till the day you die. Sometimes I swear I hear his voice in the silence, mocking me. People think lies die when the truth comes out. But that's not true. Lies don't die. They root themselves deep inside you. They shape who you become. And sometimes, they turn you into someone you don't even recognize. Anna still clings to the hope that Eric will forgive her. That maybe, if enough time passes, he'll come back. I don't have the heart to tell her. I don't think he will, because some lies can be forgiven. Others can't, and this one it started as white, harmless, simple. But by the time it ended, it was soaked in blood. That was the day I realized something I'll never forget. The truth can ruin you. But lies? Lies can kill.